In the midst of the Xbox One suffering a slump and Nintendo rising from the ashes with the Switch, the PlayStation 4 has had a stellar run. High-profile exclusives like Spider-Man have showcased the prowess of Sony's first-party studios. The console has also been home to a number of awesome third-party releases, games like What Remains of Edith Finch, and many more first released on PS4 and PC, garnering tons of attention in the process. With rumors teasing a PlayStation 5 reveal sometime this year, it's good to know that the current machine still has plenty going for it. Let's take a look at those games that will be releasing for the PS4 this year and beyond, whether they're timed exclusives or first-party wonders. Judgment. This isn't your typical YAKUZA game, even if it is developed by the same team and utilizing the same combat system. Instead, Judgment is classified as a legal thriller. Players control private investigator Takayuki Yagami as he follows a string of murders taking place in Kamurocho. Yes, the same Kamurocho from the YAKUZA series. Despite all the similarities, Judgment does have a few tricks up its sleeve, including an investigation mode for detecting clues. Will it have the same zany sub-stories that define Sega's other action-adventure series? Here's hoping for that and a karaoke minigame or two. SHIN YAKUZA. What is SHIN YAKUZA? At this point, we know that it's a new YAKUZA title with a new protagonist, Ichiban Kasuga. After an extensive vacation in prison, Ichiban must deal with the Omi Alliance and police laying claim to Kamurocho. What of the Arakawa family? Will our main man Kazura Kiryu make an appearance? Sega has yet to even confirm the official name for the title, but keep your eyes peeled for more details this year. For what it's worth, we're looking forward to seeing how the combat system has evolved since Yakuza 6. MLB The Show 19. A console-exclusive sports series usually isn't something you hear a ton about, but MLB The Show from SIE San Diego Studio is worth a look. The series has long benefited from excellent production values over the years, and MLB The Show 19 is no exception. The game is out for PS4 in March, but there are still a ton of things we don't know about the gameplay. What we do know is that MLB The Show 19 will provide the chance to play as different legends, delve into complex RPG-like mechanics, and just enjoy some really solid baseball. Left Alive. Part stealth, part survival, and fully set in the front mission universe, Square Enix's Left Alive is an intriguing new title. Featuring 3 different main characters and set during the invasion of Nova Slava in 2127, players can either go guns blazing or play it smart. Sneak around, set traps, and maybe pilot some giant mechs to take the fight to your foes. With Armored Core series director Toshifumi Nabeshima, Metal Gear Solid series character designer Yoji Shinkawa, and Gundam mech designer Takayuki Yanase on board, Left Alive makes for an unorthodox but highly intriguing third-person shooter. It's out on March 5th for PS4 and PC. Concrete Genie. Our journeys through the social jungles of Concrete Genie were supposed to happen last year. Instead, the action-adventure title from Pixel Opus is coming in Q1-Q2 of 2019. Starring a boy named Ash, players embark on a journey to clean up the town of Denska. Along the way, Ash might also learn a thing or two about overcoming the bullies who ripped his notebook to shreds. With the freedom to customize one's creations with different paint colors and designs, Concrete Genie should offer a unique adventure spin exclusively for PS4 fans. The Last of Us Part 2. Naughty Dog's long-awaited sequel in the Last of Us series has garnered a reputation for blood, brutality, and unflinching attention to detail. And that's saying something considering how the first game played out. The Last of Us Part 2 focuses on Ellie, all grown up and seemingly out for vengeance against a strange cult. We haven't seen a whole lot of Joel, but trailers thus far have revealed a sheer graphical prowess that Naughty Dog continues to deliver on. Animation work is simply stellar. Textures have to be seen to be believed, and it all achieves a new standard for realistic, morbid beauty. Death Stranding. Hideo Kojima's first game since departing from Konami takes the weirdness of the PT demo and elevates it further. The plot seems to center on Sam, played by Norman Reedus, as he tries to reunite the shattered world following an event known as the Death Stranding. This involves traveling to an alternate world upon death, experiencing a rain called Timefall which can rapidly age whatever it comes into contact with, and fighting invisible creatures with their own motivations. And really, that's only the tip of the iceberg when it comes to all the strange happenings apparent. with other talent that includes Mads Mikkelsen, Lea Seydoux, Troy Baker, and Guillermo del Toro. Death Stranding's large open world belies an approach to action that could change the genre. Ghost of Tsushima. For the past 10 years or so, Sucker Punch Productions has always been known as the infamous studio. The developer had a strong grasp on crafting open worlds, but Ghost of Tsushima takes this to another level. Set on Tsushima Island during the Mongol invasion in 1274, the game follows the last samurai, Jin Sakai. Sakai fights against the invaders using a mix of swordplay and stealth, but will it be enough to free Tsushima? Based on gameplay footage from E3 2018, Ghost of Tsushima is downright gorgeous, and the prospect of exploring this enormous world without any restrictions is incredibly enticing. Look for more details on a release later this year. Dreams. Anyone who's played a Media Molecule game, not including Tearaway, knows that it's about the tools as much as the actual gameplay. Though there is a single-player story mode in Dreams, players have the power to craft their own nifty little experiences and share them with others. The basis for different characters is the Imp, an entity that can create items, manipulate the game world, possess other characters, and so on. Dreams has had a long development period, and while its ambition could be biting off more than it can chew, the whimsical visuals and Media Molecule pedigree give us hope. Sun. A psychological horror title from Red G Studios, Sun will be coming to the PS4 in early 2019. The plot seems fairly typical. Players control Robert Alderson, who's searching for his son Jay. It seems Jay has gone missing in the south of nowhere, read somewhere in the Pennsylvanian forest. Alderson apparently has some inner demons as well, and they'll be manifested as he does everything possible to retrieve his son. Featuring real-life locations which no one has ever ventured into alone, Sun could provide some interesting scares for those craving more horror in their lives. Just don't say we didn't warn you. Shenmue 3. Shenmue 3 has been quite some time coming, and not just in the sense of being a true sequel to Shenmue 2. It began life as a Kickstarter project that launched at Sony's E3 2015 presser. From there, development slowly but surely took shape. Ryo Hazuki was still on the hunt for his father's killer Lan Di, traveling to Guilin in China and encountering Lin Shenhua. Featuring a gorgeous aesthetic courtesy of Unreal Engine 4, Shenmue 3 has thus far succeeded in capturing the medieval fantasy meets modern grit mood of previous titles. It might not introduce a ton of genre-defining mechanics like the previous two games, but the story itself may be worth the ride. Shenmue 3 is out for PS4 and PC on August 27th. Days Gone. An aggressive and hostile open world defines Days Gone, Sony Bend Studios' newest title releasing on April 26th. Controlling Deacon St. John, Days Gone is set in a world that's long faced decimation. Much of the population has been turned into fast-moving zombies called freakers, though wild animals like bears and wolves have also been infected. There are a fair number of hostile humans as well, so you won't be missing your fellow man. Despite its looks as a third-person shooter, Days Gone offers quite a bit of freedom with how you can tackle missions, employ outright murder, stealth, or a bit of both, whatever gets the job done. With dynamic weather and a massive environment to explore, Days Gone seems to offer enough zombie killing for your buck. Final Fantasy VII Remake. Ever since the fateful PS3 demo at E3 2005 showcased the original opening in gorgeous updated graphics, fans have demanded a remake of Final Fantasy VII. It seemed like a no-brainer, especially since it's one of the most significant Final Fantasy titles to date. Lo and behold, the remake was teased for the first time at E3 2015. Gameplay would debut at the PlayStation Experience event that same year. However, the development process hasn't exactly been the smoothest. Square Enix originally worked with CyberConnect 2, but this meant a lot of coordination was required. Eventually, the remake was shifted to an internal team at Square Enix. The developer also decided to split the game into multiple parts, adding new content and updating character designs to maintain that realistic feel. Combined with the revamped combat, Final Fantasy VII Remake will definitely play like a different title, but will it maintain the original's signature feel? Nioh 2. Before engaging with the Dark Souls franchise, I dove headfirst into Nioh, the hack-and-slash action RPG from Team Ninja, better known for the Ninja Gaiden series, was a heady mix of speed and violence backed by the hunt for better loot. In the sequel, players will gain the power to transform into yokai, horns and all. Instead of playing as a pre-made hero, you can customize your own male or female warrior from the outset. Don't worry, Nioh 2 will be as brutal, if not more so, than the original game. Medieval. Sony's Medieval has always been a charming franchise, with Sir Dan, the undead knight, rising up 100 years later to take on his nemesis. Of all the franchises available, it didn't seem primed for a remake, but alas, it's finally happening. Medieval will be a full remake, developed by Other Ocean Interactive, and not a remaster. The visuals already look pretty good, though some polish is definitely in order. Now let's see if the gameplay can hold up when it releases later this year. And who knows, if the first game is successful, perhaps the sequels could receive the remake treatment as well. Monkey King: Hero is Back. Based on the popular Chinese myth, Monkey King: Hero is Back is about Sun Wukong's return from exile. It's actually an action-adventure title based on Tian Xiaopeng's 2015 movie. You know, the one starring Jackie Chan. Ring any bells? Developed by Oasis Games in collaboration with SIE Japan Studio, Monkey King: Hero is Back does have some sleek production values that capture the film's plucky art style pretty well. It releases in early 2019 for PS4, so we'll find out if it has the fun factor to go with the visuals. GUNGRAVE G.O.R.E. The GUNGRAVE series hasn't been exceptionally good, or even somewhat decent, since GUNGRAVE Overdose on the PlayStation 2. But there's a new one coming out that looks fine. GUNGRAVE G.O.R.E will feature the series' full-break action and the eponymous Cerberus guns. However, fighting in close combat will also be possible, and the world itself is being described as half-open. It's probably unrealistic to expect a good story, but at the very least there should be some good action, right? Lost Soul Aside. We've seen plenty of one-man team projects, but Bing Yang's Lost Soul Aside is perhaps the most impressive looking to date. Though the art takes plenty of inspiration from Final Fantasy, the combat is much sleeker looking, employing a combo system that's fast and responsive. Players can use transforming weapons, further increasing the diversity of attacks and combos. Lost Soul Aside is only impressive insofar as its scope and overall scale are concerned. Will it offer a more linear action-adventure experience with a bit of depth, or something much more? Can its various influences add up to a uniquely compelling experience? It doesn't currently have a release date, so we'll have to wait to find out, but at least it's coming to PS4 first. GRANBLUE Fantasy: RELINK. Another fantasy action RPG from Platinum Games that's exclusive to PS4, GRANBLUE Fantasy RELINK is pretty different from Babylon's Fall. Maybe this is continued retaliation against Microsoft for its cancellation of Scalebound on Xbox One? Regardless, this title is developed in collaboration with SCI Games, making use of the uber-popular GRANBLUE fantasy setting to craft a fully-fledged role-playing experience. Supporting either co-op or solo play with 3 AI companions, GRANBLUE Fantasy RELINK doesn't have a whole lot of information thus far. However, the combat looks tight, the visuals are on point. What more could you possibly want? GRANBLUE Fantasy RELINK's release date is still to be announced. Project Awakening. Currently simply being called Project Awakening, this action RPG from developers SCI Games is looking quite promising indeed. We've seen very little of it so far, but what we have seen, with its dark fantasy aesthetic, the huge monsters and beasts we'll square off against in combat, and the promise of its premise in general, have us quite excited about what the experience has in store for us. Whether that excitement grows in the coming months or simply fades away, depends entirely on when we see more of this game next, and how good it continues to look. But for now, we're certainly intrigued by the little that we have seen. Babylon's Fall. At Square Enix's E3 2018 presser, we saw quite a few intriguing games from the publisher. Just no Final Fantasy VII Remake footage or details because why not? Out of nowhere though, it teased Babylon's Fall, a new game from Nier Automata and Bayonetta developer Platinum Games. It seems to be a fantasy action RPG with elements of history thrown in. We say seems to be because that teaser trailer had a lot going on. Given the developer's efforts with Nier Automata, can we expect another game that just goes off the rails with its storytelling and character depth? Either way, it's coming to PS4 and PC in 2019.
And that about does it for this video. If you enjoyed what you watched and want to see more from GamingBolt, you can always hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell icon next to it. That way you will never miss any of our videos.